Cam,
Yes,
it's nice
sir.
seeing you again here. I'm going to run that video with Charles McCall. And I don't know if you saw it yet, but his last campaign video, I wouldn't say it's his last one, but it's one of them. It's getting a lot of attention. So hang on a second. Let's
I'm
play this.
Charles McCall, and let me be perfectly clear. Cutting this banana does not make it an orange.
Charles McCall, pro Trump, anti woke.
Gender is God given, and there's only two of them. That's why we outlawed sex change surgery for minors and banned boys from girls' sports. I'm Charles McCall, and I have a simple message for any lunatic pushing sex change for kids. You first.
Oh my gosh. What do you think about that? So, this is the latest. So, Charles McCall is running for governor of Oklahoma. And someone sent me this video about a couple of weeks ago, and I looked at it and I laughed. And, they had indicated that this is really not the job of the governor. But I think his video accomplished two things. It got people to sit and laugh, and
Mhm.
it gave him the attention that he wanted and needed. Not that he needs it, but it did give him attention. Not that it was hilarious.
Yeah. No, I think it's the governor's race, and everything counts. And they just started. Everybody's going hard in the paint, and for this to be the first video is going to be the first spot of the governor's race and setting up the tone. How many people are going to view this video? I think was great. It was hysterical, and and Charles just bringing his big old cleaver down. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
I still laugh because the element of truth that if you're gonna advocate to remove the appendage of young boys, then you first. And I am against any minor sex change operations because it is destroying our youth, and we can't have that. As a political party, I think it's harmful to youth. I know that they will grow out of it, and we have to give them every opportunity and not go to the extreme. But here we are on a Wednesday evening discussing these local issues. I'm Rashard Tortorello, and I have my friend with me, Cam Yu. That name I can't pronounce, and I always complain about my name. So, Cam, can you say your last name for us?
Uloa. Imagine us Hawaiian. That's how I tell everybody. My Hawaiian friends told me, Cam, say it's Hawaiian so everybody remembers. I'm like, okay. It's been good so far.
That's awesome here. So we are always testing new software out, and hopefully the sync issue with the video and audio has worked and resolved itself. What's going on, Cam? I hear that you may be homeschooling your son.
Yeah. Lucky my wife and I, we have a brilliant son. He's testing above his grade right now. So he was getting in trouble because he was answering all the questions. He was getting ahead of everybody. He was disturbing the learning environment for everybody else, which I, as a parent, my wife, as a parent, we had to make a concise decision and say, hey, how can we accommodate our son for him to be more successful in the future?
That's
So
awesome.
we out, and so far he's loving it. He loves the flexibility. It's not so rigorous. The curriculum. Mhm. So how are you, man? Last time I talked to you, you were going to DC. And you did. What was the last time you posted? Several months ago. Like, what's going on, man?
So you know what we did. The my seat, my paper. We did score a coveted or the coveted or a coveted White House press corps seat, and it started with the new media seat in February, which I was accepted immediately, and then in July, actually it was in May. They said, "Hey, we like what you write about, and we like your podcast." And please don't judge me for this podcast software. We're always trying new software, and so we're on our third version of a software that works with how we work and how we operate in our workflow, and said, you know what, you qualify, you pass the Secret Service background check, you qualify for the press pass to get into the Oval Office, the West Wing, and the White House. And so, we jumped on that. And as far as I know right now, there are only three of those in Oklahoma, myself and my publishing partner, and some guy from Channel 9 who is actually in DC full time reporting for Channel 9. And it gives us an opportunity to represent Oklahoma in DC, a conservative news outlet, and that's what people are looking for. And the travel back and forth to DC. I used to like to travel in the military. We were both active duty at one time, and I love traveling overseas, but the same plane, the same route, the same hotel, it becomes tiresome. But the good thing is that we are there, we do represent, and we have this saying in the military, which what the F and G means, right? So I am the F and G with a beard, and so it is what it is. Everything is happening for a reason, and I think people just want to hear the news and what's going on in DC as it happens, the real stuff. No fluff, no spin. We are conservative, and that's no secret. But some of the stories that we posted are just down the middle, and that's what people want. But make no bones about this, we are a conservative news outlet, and that will never change. Do we have enough? No. We've been at the mercy of the mainstream media for so long that the new media versus the legacy media, we are winning seats, we are winning viewers, and at the end of the day, that's exactly what we need. So that's what's happening in DC, and I got asked, you know, tell me about the bar joke. I don't know if you saw the last post I made, but I ended up at the most liberal bar in DC, and I was just having that conversation, right? Like, the elites are trying to kill us all, right? And we make friends. I explain to them how the elites are trying to kill us, and then they leave. But other than that, there's a lot of news going on at the federal level. We are, you know, we are in the middle of a government shutdown, which we will talk about next. And then what's happening here in Oklahoma? Are you following that DHS case with the mother and her 17-year-old son, and the treatments that allegedly DHS is providing or doing to him? Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, no, I've been following the multiple posts that Facebook, TikTok, the news, the reports, and this is where I will say DHS needs to, someone needs to go in there and really
Right.
fix overhaul of bureaucracy there. There's so much policy, so much jargon instead of having something direct where we could have more of an idea what the true process instead of just creating something that may take months. So this is where I will say, uh, in that enterprise, when we talk about Doge, that place needs to get Doge fast because there's too many concerns, in my opinion.
So let's talk about DHS. So, I've had my run-ins with DHS, and so, okay, so there is a lid on this conversation. So the families can't speak out, the attorneys can't speak out, and the state can't speak out. But what we do know, it seems like this is a family issue. But DHS has been a problem all on its own for as long as I've been here in Oklahoma. And I've got two daughters, and I don't know if I shared this story with you, but my youngest daughter, child custody issue, and her mother did the most horrible thing. She turned me into DHS for something I didn't do, and about a year and a half of my life was hell, trying to prove my innocence. And my judge at the time in district court in Cleveland County received a report back from DHS after about a year. And she says, I've never seen a report from DHS where they point the finger at the mother who fabricated an entire story that was false, and you have been exonerated. Now, I'm sure there have been other judges in other cases that have seen that. But the problem is that for for anybody who has been involved with DHS, once you're in the system, like this child is now in the system, okay, because of a family member who may or may have not felt the treatment was inadequate, or maybe just wanted to prove a point, they're in the system until they're out. And getting out is a pain in the ass. Everyone knows that DHS has problems. And in my case and other cases of other men who've gone through the same thing, once you're in, you can't leave. And you have to go and follow the entire process until they come out and said, yes, we can't find the evidence. You're not guilty, but we just don't know for sure. I mean, so unless you have the money to spend for a great defense and legal team, that's what it comes down to. Okay. You are always guilty and will have that question mark.
Yeah,
I
I thought
mean,
we England from being guilty until proven innocent to a country that is proven innocent, being innocent until proven guilty, and I feel like that's completely backwards right now.
it is. This is America. And I would like to say that, DHS needs to look at their processes. And if it's an obvious situation where you got a mother, okay, it happens, it's not just, it's mostly women. Okay, let's be honest, okay? It is mostly women doing this. They want to get back to their ex, they want to win in court, and they make these lies, and we have to pay the price. But DHS has to have in their system that if this sounds like a family squabble or a custody dispute, stay out of it, butt out of it. Turn it back over to them. We don't want to be a part of this. It seems to be more of a he said, she said. If there are show us proof that the father committed a crime, or in this
Well, and
case here, this case here shows proof that the mother is providing inadequate medical attention for her son.
these things happen because there's no consequences from both parties. So, again, this is where I'll say the red tape, the policy, the statutes in the state of Oklahoma need to be updated because I will tell you there has been people who like OU. OU may have policies that they haven't updated since COVID, and one of the persons who have been fighting about her husband's passing has been Peggy Hockett. And nobody has, well, when I say nobody, really, she has been advocating about, hey, the hospital cannot kidnap and consent for treatment when a patient is, of age, telling you no. So this is where I will say it's not just DHS, but also what are the hospitals doing, the medical facilities. So this is concerning to me. Again, I think the layers of bureaucracy is going to come in, and that enterprise is just going to suffocate, I guess, the processes for these families.
Right. And, if we are there to protect the family, then let's do the job of protecting the family. Let's find a way to weed out the false allegations and go and deal with the real allegations of abuse. Okay, no more he said, she said. It's all crap, So, people lose trust in the system when the
Yeah.
system runs amok. And Danny Williams, who is chairing the interim studies on DHS, hopefully by the end of the session, they will have looked at DHS and hopefully the DHS will go back and look at their processes here. It's a huge bureaucracy. They take a lot of money. They spend a lot of money. Their budget is huge. But what would happen if they looked at the processes and changed a couple of things and just decided not to get involved in things that are obviously he said, she said in a custody battle, or in this case here, unconfirmed reports that the mother-in-law, the grandmother, made the call to DHS. So that opens a whole new can of worms. Do grandparents have rights in situations like this? We don't know for sure because there's a gag order by the judge, and nobody will know until after it's been adjudicated, and then it's still a private issue. I would want my information in my case out there for the whole world to see, but man to man, I would think that most men would agree that they can be victims of DHS, and that needs to be stopped.
Yeah. Well, when we talk about equal opportunity, how equal are we talking about? Like, give me a measurable uh, way I could see and quantify this. Yeah, I agree with you. This is concerning, and but again, at the end of the day, uh, I feel bad for the child because he's going through it. I hope the best. Again, this is a tough one, man.
It is a tough one. What's another tough issue is the federal level. So, what day of the closure of the federal government are we at right now?
Man, that switch though.
What's that?
Wow, you just went fast for it. Yeah, man, the government shutdown. I have a lot of friends that are really getting hit with this. This is their first week of being furloughed, and
Ryan.
we have talks with them, and they tell me, Cam, do you think we're gonna get fired? What's going on? And it's the best thing I could do is like, hey, uh, it's out of our control right now. We just gotta hope for the best. We gotta keep a positive mindset. At the end of the day, the mission is what counts. If you're a federal worker, you have to do your job. And I will say, when I drive around Tinker Air Force Base, it's a lot emptier now. The
It
parking lot,
is.
saying the
So,
commissary.
we got somebody calling in real quick here. It's Gloria Bannister.
Gloria.
Gloria Bannister. Hang on seconds.
No, you're good.
Gloria, you're live.
Okay, I'm here.
You had something to say about the federal shutdown. We're right in the middle of that
Yes, I
conversation.
do.
We just
It's
had a
wrong.
discussion.
Every way, shape, and form. We have mothers that will not be able to afford food for their babies. We have mothers that won't be able to afford diapers. We have people that are going to work not knowing how they're going to fill their gas tanks up. The shelves are empty in stores because people are afraid that they're not going to have enough money to live out this travesty right now. And the
I don't.
Democrats are just wrong.
I haven't seen it. It is a Democrat issue. Cam
Yep,
works. I mean, Cam
for the
works for the
government,
federal
sure.
government now, and he was just you jumped in. You wanted to say and explain that you've seen empty grocery shelves because people
Yes.
think this is the next pandemic and they're just hoarding
Mm-hmm.
food. The last couple of weeks here. But Cam, finish what you were saying. And Glory has a good point. As a government employee, you say that Tinker Air Force Base is almost a ghost town, sort of like
Yeah.
COVID.
So uh, when the offer of like, hey, severance pay, not a severance pay, but the DRP. Take the DRP for early retirement. If you want to leave out the federal government, take it. So what happened is a lot of the people who were about to retire took the opportunity, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
people left behind are those who are less than 20 years or brand new.
Right.
So those are the ones who are about my age range, and yeah, Gloria is completely right on the spot. We have parents who are thinking, "Do I need to start applying?" And one of the things that I've talked about to them is start updating your resume. It's not a bad thing. You should be updating your resume, but if you haven't, touch up on it and see what's out there because
Well,
this
well,
is
well.
some.
I'm gonna. So okay. So to that note,
Mhm.
President Trump has threatened to fire a lot of employees, and to my recent knowledge, I mean, to my knowledge, it's never happened before where he used that as a threat. Now we have how many military bases we have in Oklahoma? We have Fort Sill, Tinker, Enid. I believe there's a fourth one. I just can't recall. But you know, people should know that when President Trump threatens to do something, he will follow through. Now, Gloria,
That's
I mean,
right.
you have never been a government employee, and so you don't know what it's like. But I think from what my conversations with Cam earlier today, and with a lot of people, there is a threat and a fear that they might lose their jobs if Trump follows through with his threat, and all he wants are the Democrats to come to the table and vote on a clean resolution to keep the government open. So, you've been
I
in
think it.
politics far longer than we have. So why here? I mean, so why are the Democrats fighting and are unwilling to work with President Trump when the threat of people losing
They're
their
scared of him.
jobs?
They're scared. They're not gonna. They don't think that he will do it. That's the thing. They are so far out there. I wore a red hat today that said, "Relax, it's just a red hat." It triggered 5 people today in Target. Don't mind me going to Target, but anyhow, I was in Target because I'm looking for something, and nobody else has it. Well, anyhow,
Right.
the new Trader Joe's opened up, and yeah, it opened up on Monday over here in Oklahoma City. There's now two in Oklahoma City, and I ran in there. Their shelves were full yesterday. Today they're not, and they don't get another truck until maybe the end of the week, possibly. And they said, well, if we're out of it, we're out of it. We're not going to have it restocked until next week.
So
And
how do you
that's
know
why I
it's a
said to you,
result of the shutdown?
because it hasn't, because there's another store that is, because it's different types of people that are going into this store versus the other store. And talking to some of the employees in there, I said, what are you seeing? Because I was just buying a couple things. And I said, what are you seeing? And she goes, I'm seeing mothers coming in here buying things just to feed their
Hmm.
children
Mm.
because they're afraid. And I said, that comes to mind that I just heard on the radio that 2 more Democrats have flipped. So that means we need 2 more Democrats to flip to come over to the Republican side to open back up our government. So that's a good sign, right? But what I don't like, and what I don't like seeing happen, we know that there's essential personnel. I've lived through a government shutdown before. I'm an Army brat. And, you know, essential personnel will get paid. They'll get paid on the back end, but we can't leave people destitute, and we can't leave people. I mean, look what happened in California. Just was it yesterday or the day before, where the air traffic controllers just shut down the entire airport.
Yeah.
I mean, you if you're essential, you're essential. That'd be like me as a nurse or a doctor not taking care of my patients. Oh, I forgot they took away the Hippocratic oath. Hmm. Let's see. And that is a smart aleck comment, but it's something similar along those lines. People are forgetting that we still have a country to run, and we still have people that need things in life. And it's up to now, I believe now churches need to step up more than ever before. And the Catholic Church, I think, does more than most churches in Oklahoma. But I think that we're going to see more. Uh, uh, oh, my train of thought's gone.
Well,
Like
gather it. I'll go
pantries,
back to Ken real quick.
pantries. Sure. Yeah. Stop.
when your when your train comes in, come back. Okay. So Cam,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, so she had a point about the air traffic controller. So they're still working, but they're behind, and they're not being paid. So this is an example for everyone in the government to work with each other, because look, we want our traffic controllers to do the job that they're paid to do and not worry
Absolutely.
about the next paycheck coming in, because we don't want another. They will do what they have to do, but you're a mission essential employee and you're still receiving your paycheck. So
Right.
why why hasn't the FAA declared, and we need to get somebody on who actually works with the FAA to say that their controllers are mission essential and they are getting paid?
Yeah. So to me, I feel like what I'm listening to, there's a lot of suffering, of course, right? There is mothers, families, people trying to figure out where they're going to get their next meal, how to pay the bills. You know how it is. Uh, so if these individuals are, you know, facing these obstacles, then are the people who work for these legislators, the aides, the administrative assistants, all these individuals, are they also getting paid? And also, are these legislators getting paid? Because if not, then I think we might have to look into, hey, if the government shuts down, nobody gets paid when you're in DC
Mm.
until we figure it
Um,
out.
yeah, so I'm sure that the ICE personnel in Portland and Chicago hopefully are receiving their pay, because if they are furloughed and they're still taking the abuse that they have been, and not getting paid, those guys deserve
That's
a
right.
round of applause because they're continuing to do the job. And so it leads us to the last segment. Antifa and ICE. So we've seen the videos of Portland, Oregon devolving into chaos. They've been like that for at least a year and a half. But it seems now that the Antifa group has become so emboldened to attack ICE because they know that the state, the local government, the police will not arrest them. And so I don't
Right.
know. I don't know Nick Sorter personally, but I do follow him. And the reporter that was defending himself in Portland last week was arrested by Portland police, and he was released. I'm not sure if Bondi's DOJ had a hand in that, but I think, and this is a question to both of you guys, the blue is still the blue. I think that some of the Portland police officers and Chicago police officers are not going to let their fellow police law enforcement on their own. So when they receive the stand down order, and we just don't know this for sure because we only have a handful of people reporting the actual news. I mean, Cam, do you think that line officers, police officers, are responding to the helpful call from ICE,
I hope
regardless of
so.
what their commander says?
But this is where I will say, if you want to know how important is your local elections, in these areas we have open primaries, we have jungle primaries, and look how their government is being ran. People are going like, how is they? It's because of the culture.
Yeah.
And again, when you have that kind of environment of open primaries, when you have the lack of respect towards law enforcement, of course, people are going to do whatever they want. And this is to me concerning because here in Oklahoma, we have that state question 836. If you want to know what the perfect reflection is, look at Portland, Oregon. What's going on right now?
Well, maybe there's a connection between open primaries, jungle primaries, and pieces of shit. Okay, let's just call it. They're
There's
they're a
no
bunch of
maybe
shitheads.
about
Okay.
it. It is a connection. It's lawfare. You don't
Mhm.
if if you think you can do what you want at all times, then where do you think that comes from? Right? Where do your beliefs come from? Where do your core values come from? Right?
Well, we
Well,
have
I know where mine
shitheads
come from.
everywhere. Well, look, everyone
Well,
can be a
sure.
shithead.
Well,
Um,
sure.
but we need to find out if Oregon has open primaries, because if they do, it's the. Look, I tell you what Oregon doesn't have that we have is constitutional carry, and you know that
There you
everyone packing a gun makes everyone polite. All right,
go.
that's for sure. That here you don't shoot your mouth off because you might get your head shot off by somebody
You don't know
defending
who's
themselves.
carrying. That's right.
Exactly. So one thing that we have they don't is is constitutional carry, but we might have to get Wendy back next show and research if Oregon does have general primaries. I just think they have shitty leadership. It's always been a far left city. It's been a liberal city for as long as I've known it, and up until 2008, it's always been a tolerant liberal city. But politics has gotten so bad since 2008,
Oh, it's
and
pathetic.
it's bad
And
all over.
it is a pretty part of the United States. How come? How that this is a question. How come the most prettiest parts of our United States of America are ran by lunatic liberals? Why? Why? I'll never understand that.
So
Well, it just breeds
the
them, apparently.
look, 8:36 is the conversation for the next show, but
Yeah, absolutely.
so before we go, have you seen Charles McCall's latest ad with the banana, Gloria?
Yes. I
Okay,
thought it
so
was it was funny.
it got people's attention, so that's all that
It
matters.
got
And
listen, that's what it's about when you're running for office. But I think it's too soon to judge any race at this far out. And right now it seems that when you have, oh well, okay, friend of mine, her son's being held captive by OU Children's Hospital.
mm,
I support Dana 100%, and it's a travesty that your rights as a parent are being beholden to a entity who wanted to chop genitals off of babies. They thought sex change operations in babies were okay at OU Children's at one point in time. Do you remember that?
I do, and you came on late because we were talking about DHS and the never-ending story hellhole that
Yeah,
I have my personal experience with DHS, but I was one of the few
so do
men that
I.
were found not guilty, and they actually pointed the finger at my daughter's mother, saying she fabricated the entire situation. But
Yep.
you don't get back a year and a half of your life, and you don't get
Mm-mm.
back your reputation sometimes, and
Sometimes you
we were
don't.
just
And the money, or the money
so
that I mean, everything takes money. So these
so it,
lawsuits and yes,
So in this case here, just to recap, DHS and Mooney allegedly, we can't confirm this, but it was a grandmother who made the phone call to DHS, and in situations like this, DHS, that the call center, that the intake center, they have to say this is a family issue. This has nothing
right.
to do with DHS, and
Correct.
we're not gonna deal with it. You guys
Nope.
solve this issue out as a family and leave us out of it,
Yep.
because if he's not being abused, you can have a difference
Right.
of opinion on how you treat your child. But it goes
Right.
on. Do grandparents have the right to interfere in a mother's right
Right.
to provide treatment as she sees fit?
Well,
And that's gonna haunt
a
this
medical right
case.
because you know,
It's gonna
I live
it's okay. Let me finish
go
real quick.
ahead.
It's gonna
Sorry.
haunt. It's gonna haunt DHS and parents going forward if
Yep.
non-custodial parents. And I'm not saying that grandparents should not have the rights, but I'm just saying that the final authority will always and needs to rest with the parents. And if you got a squabble going on because your mother-in-law don't like the way you cook the meatloaf, they should say hands off. We're not going to get involved, right,
Yeah,
Gloria?
right. 100%.
Common sense.
100%.
Common sense.
It is common sense, but I don't think our Oklahoma DHS has much common sense, right? So what's it going to take? Is it going to take calling Governor Stitt on a daily basis, 100 times a day, to get him to investigate DHS? Is it going to take
Well,
the DA? What's it going to take? We
well,
have Gabe Woolley that fights 100% against
right.
DHS. We have Sherry Conley that fights 100% against DHS. But we have to fight somehow in the state of Oklahoma against the overreach of DHS. I mean, dismantle them and start anew.
Well, I think the interim studies we're having hopefully will shed light on the processes, and we discussed this earlier before you barged on the call. But I'm glad to have you
Oh, you
here.
should have, had me on earlier. Gave me some
All
fair
right.
warning.
Okay. Hey. So the last call is candidates for governor. Okay. You don't have to say who you choose, but
I'm not going to.
my test is the 6 hour layover at Chicago O'Hare. So,
Hmm.
who would you rather have and sit in the airport bar for 6 hours in a layover? That should be how we at least look at candidates for governor. And I've already said who would I'd have a beer with Charles McCall for 6 hours, and we can just chat for he passes the test of the layover test. So, you guys want to give your layover test for any of the candidates?
Ladies first.
Oh, sure, Cam. Uh-huh.
Hey, you can always change your mind because you guys do. So,
You know, I think because I know Charles McCall and I like Charles McCall. And I I think I kind of want to sit with well, I don't know. Do they all drink?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, do you want to have a good drink or do you want to have coffee and tea?
N- No, I want to have a good drink. Well, like kind of what I'm having to do here because if you don't know what I'm doing, I'll have to tell you later.
Well, for me, the 6 hour the layover test is Charles McCall, and probably Jake Merrick would be a second. But Cam,
See, this is where I will say I would rather have everybody to see who truly is going to be a good candidate. Because I'll be honest, everybody, each governor,
That's
every
a fluff.
governor
Come on,
well,
has
you
so
didn't
Cam.
say anything. You didn't say anything either. So I'm
you
look.
know.
No, I know.
Well,
I was going to. I'm going to
so
tell you. I will.
we're both committee
I'll
men,
take.
and
I'll
so
take. I'll take. I want to know more about Maisie. So I'd like to sit down with him for 6 hours
who?
in the flight. Sure, Maisie,
Maybe or
Mike Maisie.
Maisie? Okay,
Yeah,
Maisie.
Maisie, Mike
Maisie.
Maisie.
All right,
Yeah.
Cam. She did say it. So
You guys are hard on this one. I'll be honest. I don't know. I really
Oh,
don't
come
know
on,
because
Cam.
see what
no,
you're
You're just
getting
in
her
a
because
okay. It doesn't mean you're
because
picking them.
no, yeah. Who
It's just who
the
you want to
question
talk to.
is
no.
Because
Well,
I
so
mean, like I.
the who would you rather spend 6 hours in a bar at Chicago O'Hare? Just
Oh, okay.
anyone.
Wait a minute. I got to change my mind.
Oh shit.
I like corny jokes, so I'm gonna go with McCall too.
Okay.
tough
He's the
one.
only
It's
one
a
that's come out with a corny joke. Isn't that
Charles
the
does
truth?
that kind of
Yes.
joke. So to me, if I had gun to my head, I have to pick one. The commercial hysterical. Am I gonna get you know jokes like that through 6 hours? Is that gonna be something that is gonna be consistent? Uh, so I think right now again Charles is putting the standards pretty high. So for now, Charles. But ask me that question again when February comes around, and may have somebody else.
Well,
Or he could pick it
April.
up.
Or
April is the
April.
deadline for filing, so it may change, but you
Who
know,
else is gonna get in or stay in? I guess,
absolutely.
right?
All right, we're
Uh,
gonna sign off. You guys have the last round. Ladies first.
Mm. What's your favorite chocolate?
Hershey's. Cam, you're next.
what do you miss from the military that you don't miss?
PT and no fat boys. Go,
That's right,
go,
Secretary of Defense.
go,
Secretary of Defense.
sec
Hey,
war.
Let's
We don't
go.
I'd
need
be out
fat
there.
people in the military.
I know PT. I know Cadence. Come on, come on. Let's do it.
All right, we're signing off here. Stand by.
Have a great night.
You
Take
too,
care,
guys.
y'all.